Let's start here, with the quiet thought you don't always say out loud. The one that shows up when you're doing the dishes, when you're driving alone, when a song plays that you didn't expect. Why am I still thinking about him? And then right behind it comes the shame. I should be over this. What's wrong with me? Why can't I just let go? And if you've ever sat in that moment, caught between memory and frustration, between longing and strength, I need you to hear this clearly. You are not weak for still thinking about him. You are human. You are healing. And more than anything, you are in the middle of a transformation that most people don't even have the courage to face. Because what no one really tells you is this. Healing doesn't mean forgetting. Moving on doesn't mean erasing. And strength? Strength is not the absence of memory. Strength is remembering. And choosing yourself anyway. There's a woman I want you to picture. She wakes up early, even when she didn't sleep well. She goes to work. She handles her responsibilities. She smiles when she needs to. From the outside, people say, she's doing so much better. But what they don't see is what happens in the in-between moments. The silence, the flashbacks, the random memories that don't knock before they enter. The way she can be fine 1 second, and then suddenly remember how he used to laugh, how he used to look at her, how she once felt chosen. And in those moments, she questions herself. Why does he still cross my mind? Why does a part of me still feel connected? Let me tell you why. Because you loved. Not halfway, not casually, not with one foot out the door. You loved deeply. And deep love doesn't disappear just because the relationship did. See, the world has conditioned women to believe that strength looks like detachment. Like if you were really strong, you'd be cold, unaffected, untouched by the past. But that's not strength. That's suppression. And suppression doesn't heal you. It just delays your healing. Thinking about him doesn't mean you want him back. Thinking about him doesn't mean you've made no progress. Thinking about him doesn't mean you're stuck. It means your heart is still processing something that mattered. It means there are pieces of your story that are still being understood, still being released, still being transformed. Let's go deeper. Because sometimes, it's not even him you're thinking about. It's who you were with him. The version of you that laughed freely, that believed fully, that gave without hesitation. The version of you that thought, this is it, this is my person. And when that ends, you don't just lose a relationship, you grieve a future. You grieve an identity. You grieve the version of yourself that only existed in that space. So when your mind goes back, it's not always about him. It's about trying to make sense of who you were and who you're becoming now. And let me say something that might set you free today. Missing the memory is not the same as missing the man. Let that sit with you. Because sometimes, you're not longing for him. You're longing for how you felt. Safe, seen, wanted, alive. And your mind revisits those moments not because you're weak, but because your heart is trying to remind you of what you're worthy of. But here's where the shift happens. Because healing isn't about pretending those thoughts don't exist. Healing is about changing how you respond when they do. There will be days when his name crosses your mind. And instead of spiraling, instead of judging yourself, instead of feeling like you've taken 10 steps back, you pause, you breathe, and you say, this is a memory, not a destination. You don't follow it down the rabbit hole. You don't start rewriting the past to make it seem better than it was. You don't ignore the truth you fought so hard to accept. You simply acknowledge, that was a chapter, not my whole story. Because let's be honest, if it was meant to stay, you wouldn't be here rebuilding yourself. If it was healthy, you wouldn't have had to lose yourself to keep it. If it was aligned, you wouldn't have had to question your worth inside of it. And I know, sometimes your mind plays tricks on you. It highlights the good moments, the laughter, the connection. It edits out the confusion, the inconsistency, the pain you cried through when no one was watching. And suddenly you find yourself thinking, maybe it wasn't that bad. But your healing didn't come from nothing. Your growth didn't come from a place of peace. You didn't have to rebuild yourself because everything was perfect. So, no, you're not weak for remembering. But you would be doing yourself a disservice if you remembered without truth. And truth says this: you deserve a love that doesn't require you to heal from it. You deserve consistency, not confusion. You deserve peace, not emotional survival. So, when he crosses your mind again, and he will, I don't want you to panic. I don't want you to question your progress. I want you to recognize it for what it is, a passing moment, not a permanent place. Because the woman you're becoming, she doesn't erase her past. She learns from it. She doesn't pretend she didn't love. She honors that she did. She doesn't shame herself for feeling. She refines how she responds to those feelings. Let me tell you something powerful. The fact that you can still think about him and not go back, that is strength. The fact that memories can visit you and you don't reopen doors you've closed, that is growth. The fact that you can feel something and still choose yourself, that is healing. Because there was a time, be honest, when thinking about him would have pulled you right back in. A text, a call, an apology, and you would have folded. Not because you were weak, but because you were still tied to the hope of what it could be. But look at you now. You feel, and you don't act on it. You remember, and you don't return. You process, and you keep moving forward. That's not weakness, that's evolution. And one day, this won't feel so heavy. One day his name will cross your mind, and it won't pull at your heart the same way. One day you'll realize that the emotional charge is gone. Not because you forced it away, but because you outgrew the attachment. Because time doesn't just pass. You change within it. You gain clarity. You gain strength. You gain a deeper understanding of yourself. And slowly, what once felt like a wound becomes a lesson. And here's the beautiful part. You don't just heal from him. You rise because of what you went through. You become more discerning. You stop ignoring red flags. You stop overgiving to people who underdeliver. You stop chasing love that requires you to abandon yourself. You start choosing peace over potential. You start choosing alignment over attachment. You start choosing yourself, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. So, no, you're not weak for still thinking about him. You're strong for not letting those thoughts control you. You're powerful for not letting your past define you. You're evolving every single time you choose yourself in a moment that used to break you. And if no one has told you this lately, you're doing better than you think. Healing is not linear. Progress is not always loud. Sometimes growth looks like crying less, reacting less, and choosing differently in silence. So, the next time his memory shows up uninvited, don't fight it. Don't shame yourself. Don't question your strength. Just remind yourself, I can remember and still move forward. I can feel and still be free. I can honor what was without going back to it. Because you didn't lose yourself in loving him. You found a deeper version of yourself through leaving him. And the woman you are becoming, she is not defined by who she used to love. She is defined by how she learned to love herself after. So, stand in that, walk in that, heal in that, and never, ever, confuse your ability to feel with weakness. Because it was never weakness. It was always your heart. Learning how to let go without losing itself. And that is one of the strongest things a woman will ever do. Comment below. I'm healing, not weak. Let's normalize this part of the journey. Subscribe if you're on your healing journey and want more content like this. Real, honest, and empowering. And if you know another woman who's silently going through this, send this to her. You never know who needs this reminder today. Thanks for watching.